We'd like to welcome Justin Thomas into the interview room at the Dell Technologies Championship. Justin, you come in here off a T6 last week at the Northern Trust. It was your 10th top 10 of the season, which is the most this year by any player, or this season. Just talk about the FedEx Cup playoffs. You're number 3 right now. Just talk about coming to Boston for the 3rd time in your career.
Yeah, it's a place that I like the course. I like the city. I haven't played it very well. So in terms of any sort of success or anything that I have on the course in the past, I haven't had much. But you know, hoping obviously to change that this year. And coming off a week last week where it honestly gave me as much, not energy, but I guess positivity or confidence as a win, because I really did not have anything close to my best stuff. I mean, I probably had my C game, and I knew that going in there. I really had a hard time in my practice sessions, and I just couldn't quite figure it out. And I hit it pretty bad all week, and I got it around really well, and that's something that I don't do very often. So that was really enjoyable and a great confidence booster for me to be able to finish that high in an event that I didn't play well. So you know, I'm hoping to hit it obviously better this week, but continue the you know, the good form.
Before we take some questions, as I said, you're 3rd right now in the FedEx Cup. You finished 12th last year. The first year that you played, you were 32nd, so just outside that 30. How much motivation did that give you, like the following season, to make that top 30?
Yeah, that wasn't very fun. It's really the only way to put it. When I finished, I was projected. I think when I finished, I don't know who it was with the tour. I had an iPad, and they're like, you know, congrats, you're into Atlanta, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, it looks like I'm going to be, but there's a lot of golf to still be played, and there's guys out there that could change it, and you just don't know. I think I was 27th or maybe projected when I finished, and yeah, then someone birdied, you know, 4 of their last 6, and then someone birdied their last 2, and then someone birdied 3 of their last 4, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, now I'm 30th, and then I just remember it came down that Kevin Na had about a 5-footer on the last hole for par, and if he misses it, I'm in. If he makes it, I'm out, and he made it. So that wasn't very much fun watching the Tour Championship from my couch.
The line of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Okay, if we have questions, just raise your hand, and we'll get you a microphone. We'll start right here. Oh, go ahead.
Justin, Butch Stearns, Boston 25. I have a quick follow-up after this too, but do you have any Boston connections when you do come here? What do you enjoy about New England when it comes to sports? Are you friends with any of the athletes?
Not particularly. I'm a huge David Ortiz fan. I don't know if pay attention, but I have 34 in all of my social media accounts, and it's because of him. And I don't know why specifically him. I was a Red Sox fan growing up. My uncle, from my mom's sister's husband, grew up around this area, so I just kind of became one through him, because he would refuse to get me a birthday or Christmas gift unless it was something Red Sox. So I had a lot of Red Sox jersey T-shirts, a lot of hats. Took me to a game at Fenway for like my 12th birthday. I went to a Yankees-Red Sox game at the old Yankee Stadium. Remember, I wore a Nomar jersey and just got booed and yelled at, and I was like 10 years old. I mean, it was absurd. But I don't follow baseball near as closely as I did in high school. I don't know if that's partially because I maybe have a little busier schedule now than I did then, and I'm kind of worried about my own stuff. But I don't know. I love the weather up here. I love the fans. The golf is incredible. Yeah, and you know, it's fun being in an area this close. I've gotten to know Tom Brady a little bit, and I mean, one of the best to ever play any sport ever. And it's just a fun area. You know, I enjoy being here.
Follow-up I had was, when you play in a pro-am like today, is there one common bit of advice you end up giving amateurs that you play with?
Nothing specific. I mean, I want to help them any way I can, and I'll help them read their putts. Or, I mean, a lot of it is usually if they're in a bunker a lot, because it's a very common thing that amateurs are not good out of bunkers, and they think they need to help the ball out as opposed to hitting down on it to make it come up and open in the face. So anytime that I see them struggling with something, or whether it's their swing or around the greens or putting, whatever it is, I will try to help. But in terms of, in general, you know, everybody's different, so you just kind of feel it out.
We'll go to Mike, and then we'll go across here.
So I'm just curious what you think of the changes to the course, specifically the 12th and 13th holes.
Hoping I wouldn't get asked this.
Sorry about that.
I thought it was a great hole before. I personally don't think that it was a very good job redesigning it, and I thought 12 was one of the better holes in the course, and 13 was a great hole too. So I don't think that there was a need to change it, and I don't know. I think that the words or the stuff that you're hearing around isn't a coincidence.
This side.
Justin, with the announcement about a month ago about the reordering of tournament play throughout the year and then moving the playoffs up, there's been speculation that this tournament or this stop could fall by the wayside. Would you be disappointed in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I obviously don't follow that stuff very closely. Not knowing that, obviously knew the PGA and the players, stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely. It's a great place. It's a great tournament. It's a great atmosphere. You know, a lot of people come out, and I mean, it doesn't. All the tournaments on tour are great, and we wish that we could play in all of them every week. It's just unfortunately we can't with the scheduling. But yeah, wouldn't enjoy seeing it go.
Do you agree with the concept of moving these tournaments around, changing the order?
I feel like that's not really my position to say. It's you know, although the tour is doing what they're doing, I mean, it is a business, and they need to do what's going to be best. And I know that we would like to have an off season at some point if we could. We don't know if that's, you know, may happen 10 years from now or 20 or never or 5 years. You don't know, but yeah, at the end of the day, the tour needs to do what's best for the tour, and going to continue to grow and have people involved and interested in the game of golf.
Yes, sir.
Steve Riggs from the Lesson T Show. It's a loaded question that's going to require you to go way back. What was the first thing that you remember that your grandfather tried to instill in you as a kid? And I'm interested for a very personal reason, as you well know.
Yeah.
Go right ahead. I appreciate your answer.
The first thing the first thing that I can specifically remember has nothing to do with golf. It's the fact, I can't believe I'm telling y'all this. It's the fact that when I was a kid, my dad would always go to Jupiter, Port St. Lucie, and he'd play in the section events, and I would somehow get a month off school, and I would just go. I would go there and play golf and stuff like that. And I mean, I was little when I started doing that. I was probably 3 or 4, so that makes me see even better. But we'd stay at this condo, and my grandparents would stay there with us, and my grandpa convinced me that there was an ant named Horatio that lived outside of our condo that was there every year. And I, being 4 or 5 years old, I believed him. So we'd come back next year and we'd see this black ant, like there's a million of them within a mile. And I thought this ant was Horatio. So that's the first thing I remember from my grandpa. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, sir.
Bill Doyle, Worcester Telegram. I just wanted to ask you, Jordan said that if the season, basically nothing changed from here on in, you're player of the year. How do you feel about that? Do you agree with that?
I do, yeah. I mean, I would love to win it, but unfortunately the season doesn't end now, and there's 3 events left, and there's a lot of guys that could have a great finish to the season, and they could do, they could take that over. But I mean, if you're asking me honestly, I do think so. But I mean, he's had an unbelievable year too, and DJ both. I mean, it's pretty awesome what we've all done, and I think there's no reason. Obviously, in this instance, you do have to compare because somebody does have to win, but at the end of the day, I think at this point, just kind of need to appreciate what everybody's doing and just realize that it's a pretty special year so far.
And one other thing, you mentioned your uncle. Do you know where he lived around here? What town?
I don't know.
Okay.
Right in the front, sir.
Justin, Kevin Walsh, NBC Boston. I know you pal around with Jordan. He's going to the Patriots game tonight. Are you going to try and bum a ride from him? What are your plans?
Well, yeah, I'm going with him, so yes, I will be attending.
How you guys getting there? Any special transportation or?
Well, it's about a 150-yard walk from our hotel, so I think that we can handle it.
Cool. Are you gonna stay for the whole game?
No, we both play early tomorrow, and my girlfriend gets in tonight. So, and I'm not really one to enjoy staying up that late. So we'll probably just go before the game, just hang out a little bit, maybe go down the field and just go for a little bit of the game, maybe a quarter, maybe a half. I don't know, but I mean it's hard to for someone like myself and him who enjoy football as much as we do to turn down the opportunity to. I mean, Gillette's right there to go at least see a little bit of the game, even though I know I'm sure Tom won't play and a lot of the starters. But I still love football and I love the NFL, so can't turn that opportunity down.
And one last follow-up. What's your best party story from the PGA after it?
I haven't done anything. I had no desire to. I mean, I was exhausted. I had 3 consecutive days of media. I guess I had dinner with Tiger that Monday night. The following night, I guess. I mean, that wasn't really a party. We just had dinner, and I brought the trophy. But other than that, I mean, I was exhausted. I was just tired. I mean, that takes so much out of you, and had a lot of stuff to do obligation-wise. But no, I mean, the celebrations and stuff like that, where I feel like I'll really enjoy it, probably won't happen until this offseason.
Jim.
Why has Malaysia been such a good fit for you, and what's it mean to you to think you could win that 3 times in a row?
Yeah, it's awesome, and I don't know why. I think a big thing is it's a lot of wedges, and I feel that I have a really good wedge game, and the greens don't spin a lot, so the ball kind of it's going to stay around where it lands, and I feel like that's something that of my wedge game I need to get better at is the spin control. If I could get it to, I'm so envious of how Strick hits his wedges, how they just as soon as they land, they'll roll a couple inches and sometimes they'll spin back, but it's always kind of in a 2-foot, radius of his ball. And for me, sometimes I'll hit one and it'll kind of rip back or whatever, but the ball just seems to, I don't know whether it's a grass or what it is, but it kind of stays around where it lands, and I feel like I'm going to hit my number within a couple yards about every time, and I don't know, I've seemed to putt pretty well there too, so.
Will it just, because of your first win, will it always have a special meaning?
Yeah, absolutely, and the way I did it will make it even more special, and it's something that I'll always look back on. And I mean, it's something I look back on at the PGA. I looked back on in Hawaii. I mean, and I'll always be able to trace back to that first win, and because I just had so many different things happen that day. Between getting off to a slow start and then kind of having a hot, couple holes in the middle of the round, and then dumping it in the water on 14, and then birdieing 15, 16, 17. It's like. It was just, I had it all happen. So I feel like I have been able to, and I will be able to continue to use that round to my benefit.
We'll go to Mike and then Doug.
Dustin won 3 in a row earlier this year. Just how inconceivable is it to think he might run the table in the playoffs here?
The fact that there's a lot of other really good golfers in the world, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, he's definitely one of the hardest to beat when he's on. But at the end of the day, it's still really, really hard to win golf tournaments, and it's really hard to win them consecutively. And this is getting that time of year where there's less people to beat, but the fields are, I guess you could arguably say, stronger because the people that are playing the best are continuing to move on. So. I mean, for my sake, I hope he doesn't. But, yeah, you never know. I guess we'll wait and see.
Go to Doug.
So many different people playing for different things this week, whether it's to keep going or in your position. You've won 4 times. Maybe you can try to make it 5 this week. Who knows? President's Cup for some people. Where's your focus? And can you speak to what it was like when you were on that other side? Last year, for example, you're probably trying to make the Ryder Cup team. What's that like in the midst of these big tournaments when there's so many different things appealing to you?
It's hard. It really is. And the Ryder Cup definitely last year was it's so hard to get out of the back of your mind. It is. And I think as a whole, I felt like I was playing without thinking about it that much. But it's just those before the week starts, it always just creeps in the back of your head. Well, if I play well here, something may happen, or it's just you always have that if scenario or situation. So I think that makes it tough. And then, when you're trying to play well to get into the next event, it's I feel like that's, as weird as it is, it's not that much pressure because you still have a card, you still get to play next year, you still arguably probably going to have a full schedule, full season, whatever, get into a lot of events. But I don't know, it's just that, to me at least, like it was more pressure for me, or more tiresome, you could almost say, trying to make the Ryder Cup team than my rookie year trying to make it to Atlanta. Or I wanted it more. So that makes it tough, but at the end of the day, you just have to be focused on what you're doing.
So what's it like in this position?
It's nicer for sure than it was. It's
Is your outlook in these tournaments any different than it was when you had other things going on?
It's different because I know that I don't have to win to get in the top 5. I don't have to win to get in the top 10 or whatever it may be. I just know that if I play solid, I continue to just deal with whatever game I have that week, just make the best out of it that I can. As long as I can stay obviously inside the top 5 for Atlanta, then that's all you need to be. It's crazy, but it's true. I was fortunate enough and played so well this season that these playoffs, they're still extremely important, but they aren't as important for someone who's 10th or 15th. They have to have a top 2 or 3 to get in that top 5. And I'm just trying to obviously just kind of give it the best I have each week and try to get a couple wins.